She said she was done with our marriage like it meant nothing. I nodded once, picked up the bag I'd already packed, and walked out. 3 days later, she realized exactly who she'd let go. She said it like she was canceling a dinner reservation, not ending a marriage. I'm done with this. Just 4 words. No shaking voice. No hesitation. She stood in the kitchen doorway with her arms folded, the soft yellow light behind her outlining a silhouette I used to love. I remember staring at the refrigerator magnet shaped like a lighthouse. Funny what the brain grabs onto when something breaks. I'm serious, she added. Silence stretched between us. I nodded once. Slow, calm, almost respectful. Okay. That single word surprised her. Her eyebrow lifted slightly. She expected resistance, maybe anger, maybe begging, but I simply bent down, grabbed the black duffel bag sitting beside the chair. The bag I had packed 2 days earlier. Her eyes flickered toward it. A tiny wrinkle formed between her brows. You already packed? She asked. I zipped it shut. Yeah. Another pause. Her confusion thickened the air. She had rehearsed this moment in her mind. But not this version of it. Not the quiet one. Not the one where I didn't fight. I walked past her slowly. She smelled like the perfume she only wore when she went out with friends, or when she wanted someone else to notice her. My hand touched the doorknob. Behind me, she spoke again. You're just leaving? I turned my head slightly. Not enough to face her. That's what you wanted. The door opened. Cool night air spilled into the hallway. I stepped out and closed the door behind me. Softly, like nothing inside that house mattered anymore. 3 days later, my phone started ringing. Over and over and over. The first call came at 6:12 a.m. I watched the screen light up on the hotel nightstand. Her name. Claire. I let it ring. The second call came 30 seconds later. Then a third. By the fourth, I finally answered. Hello? Her breathing was sharp. Panicked. What the hell did you do? I sat up slowly. The window beside the bed revealed a pale gray dawn. What are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Her voice cracked. That caught my attention. Claire didn't crack easily. I leaned back against the headboard. Claire, I said quietly, be specific. Silence. Then a whisper. You told them. I closed my eyes for a moment. No, I hadn't told anyone. That would have been messy. Emotional. Uncontrolled. And I don't do uncontrolled. I don't know what you mean. You told my parents. Now I smiled slightly. Not because she was wrong. Because she was finally scared. 3 days earlier, when she stood in that kitchen, she thought she was the one ending something. But the truth is, our marriage had ended 6 weeks before that. The night I found the message, it had appeared on her phone while she was in the shower. A notification lighting up the dark room. One name, Evan. And one sentence, I can't stop thinking about last night. Short, simple, devastating. I didn't confront her. Didn't even open the message thread at first. Instead, I sat there, very still, letting the shape of my life change quietly in my mind. 20 minutes later, curiosity won. I unlocked the phone. The conversation was thorough. 3 months, hotels, photos, plans, even jokes about me. That part was interesting. Not painful, just informative, because that's when I understood something important. Claire wasn't leaving me because she was unhappy. She was leaving because she believed she had already secured her next life. With Evan, her personal trainer, 32, married, 2 kids, and apparently very confident in his ability to juggle secrets. I didn't react that night, or the next day, or the next week. Instead, I started collecting information, quietly, carefully, like someone studying a puzzle they already knew how to solve. Affairs follow patterns. People think they're clever, but emotions make people predictable. Claire always went to the gym at 6:30 p.m. But on Tuesdays and Fridays, she stayed an extra 40 minutes. Evan worked those shifts. I confirmed it the simple way. By joining the gym. Different trainer. Different schedule, but the same building. From the treadmill near the back wall, I could see the stretching area. That's where they talked. Too close. Too familiar. Bodies angled toward each other like magnets. Once I saw him touch her lower back. Quick. Natural. Practiced. I kept running. My heart beat steady. No anger. Just confirmation. Later that night, I checked our joint bank account. Hotel charges. 2 of them. Different weekends. She'd told me she was visiting her sister. I didn't confront her. Instead, I opened my laptop and started documenting everything. Dates, times, screenshots, receipts. A small digital archive of betrayal. Methodical. Precise. Then I scheduled something else. A DNA test. Not because I suspected anything, but because I prefer certainty. Our son Daniel was 5. Smart. Curious. He had my eyes. Or so everyone said. The test results came back 2 weeks later. Positive. He was mine. I wasn't surprised. But relief still slid quietly through my chest, because the story I was about to expose needed one innocent piece left untouched. Then came the final step. Evan. People like him live 2 lives, and 2 lives require 2 audiences. His wife, Megan, elementary school teacher. Kind smile. Social media, full of family photos. I didn't contact her immediately. Instead, I waited for Claire to make the first move. And she did. 3 days ago, standing in the kitchen. I'm done with this. She thought she was choosing him. What she didn't know was that I had already chosen the ending. The envelope arrived on Claire's parents' doorstep yesterday morning. Certified mail. Inside were printed screenshots, hotel receipts, photos from the gym, and one final image. Claire, kissing Evan in the parking lot behind the gym. Clear. Undeniable. Anonymous sender. But people always guess the truth, especially when guilt already lives in the room. Her parents called her immediately. That's when the panic began. But that wasn't the real explosion. That happened an hour later, when another envelope arrived. At Evan's house. His wife opened it. The evidence was identical, except for one extra page. A timeline. 3 months. 16 meetings. 2 hotel stays. 72 messages. I know the exact number because I counted them. And at the bottom, one sentence. You deserve the truth. No signature. No accusations. Just clarity. By the time Claire called me that morning, her world was already collapsing. Evan's wife had kicked him out. His parents knew. Their church knew. His gym suspended him pending investigation. Consequences move quickly once light hits darkness. Claire's voice trembled through the phone. You ruined everything. I leaned back in the chair. No. Silence. Then softly. You did. She showed up at the hotel that night. I expected it. Desperation follows exposure. Her eyes were red. Hair messy. Confidence gone. Why would you do this? She asked. I opened the door wider and let her step inside. The room smelled faintly of coffee. And rain. You already knew why. She shook her head violently. You could have just divorced me. I studied her face. This woman I had shared 10 years with. Strange how quickly love turns into observation. I did divorce you. Her brow furrowed. When? I slid a folder across the table. Inside were papers. Legal filings. Asset separation. Custody request. Prepared weeks ago. Her hands trembled as she opened it. You has planned this? Yes. Tears welled in her eyes. You destroyed my life. No, I said calmly. You confused secrecy with safety. She stared at me. Broken now. Do you hate me? The question hung there. Heavy, final. I considered it carefully, then shook my head. No, and that was the most devastating answer I could give, because hatred means something still matters. Indifference means it's already dead. I moved into a small apartment across town. Nothing fancy, just quiet. Daniel visits every weekend. We build Lego towers and watch old movies. He asks where Mom is. I tell him she's figuring things out. Which is true, last I heard. Evan moved into a rented room above a mechanic shop. Claire moved back in with her parents. 2 people who thought they were escaping something, now trapped inside the truth they created. Funny how that works. Sometimes revenge doesn't require anger, or shouting, or even confrontation. Sometimes it just requires patience, and a willingness to let people walk exactly where they think they want to go, until the ground disappears beneath them. 3 nights ago, Claire sent one last message. I made the worst mistake of my life. I read it once, then deleted it. Not out of bitterness, but because mistakes belong to the people who make them, not the ones who survive them. I closed my phone, looked out the window at the quiet city lights, and for the first time in months, my mind felt completely still. Because the truth about betrayal is simple. The moment someone decides they can live without you, you should help them find out exactly what that means.